safe place for sharing, for going all in, and it is only between us. It never has to go any further. You never have to do anything with it. Even if you just feel a little bit more comfortable within yourself at the end of this 3 months, then that's great. But we just get to play and we just get to see what pops out. And we also get to trust. We get to just, really, as we saw what happened with, say, if you don't mind me pointing you out, Finn, what happened with Finn this week. He was like, I don't know if I want to do it. Then he popped his phone up, pressed record, and it sounded like he'd been telling that speech for years. It was so polished and perfect. So sometimes we have to just trust divine guidance or whatever it is that the right thing's going to come out. We pray a lot in this sort of field, I think. So I'm going to ask you to come on a little journey with me now. I'll just have a sip of water. And what we're going to do is we also are going to do things a little bit differently in this course, and we're going to actually play around with it a bit. So, what we did last time is we talked about the personal vision and, where you really want to be. But today I want to actually have some fun and go all in and think, what if we could have this amazing tribe and team? How would it look? Because so often we're just stretching ourselves and looking a little bit ahead. So what if, rather than looking from the personal vision like we have been until now and in other courses, we look at our tribe vision, and our brand vision, and then our personal vision. So let's just take a moment and let's just shut your eyes if you feel safe to at the moment, and just to imagine that you were running an outfit. And for us all, for most of you, pretty much everyone that's come in here, to get to where I feel you need to be, most of you will need a team. You will need a VA or a marketer or a bookkeeper. You'll need a support team, maybe a publisher or a writer. And just think about it. Imagine if I was running this meeting and I had someone just pressing the buttons for me and unmuting and muting people and letting them in and pressing record. So most of my coaches have that assistant, so they don't have to, get distracted and think about that. So you'll need that for your teams. So imagine a tribe, imagine if you could really build a community around what you do, and you get to have a professional family as part of your business, the people that help write your posts. Imagine if you didn't actually have to be online, if you could just send someone your copy in a voice text and send them a selfie of you, and they do all the Facebook. Imagine if you didn't actually have to go on Facebook, if someone else did it for you, if someone else did the marketing. So just take a moment and let's think about our team. And I'm going to go around the wheel of life, because your team gets to be as big or small as you want. So if you had the most amazing tribe, I've worked for the rich and famous, so I've been a part of these teams and seen them, and I know what can be done. So who would you have in your tribe and your team to help you look after your health, to help you stay in peak performance? Would you allow yourself to have a personal trainer that came to your house every day? Or would you go to a posher gym? Or would you have your own meditation guru? So would you have a personal chef that dropped amazing smoothies and juices pre-made down, so you didn't have to make your kitchen all dirty and covered in beetroot in the mornings, which is the bane of my life? Who would be on your health team? Go all in. Imagine if you only had to cook for fun, if you could have the healthiest meals delivered that were just juicy and divine and delicious. What if you had a veggie garden with a gardener that came and looked after the veggies in your own home? Would you like that? How would that feel? Let's really expand right now. Let's imagine and just play what if. And then let's look at your environment. Where would you live? You know, would you invite a cleaner to help clean your home? Would you change your home? Would you have a nanny, an amazing nanny to help you with the kids, or manny? Or would you have a nanny even if you don't, or a nanny even if you don't have kids? I've definitely even done that before. I had an au pair last year when I was super busy. It was amazing. She's one of my top clients now. So what help would you have in your environment? Would you have the gardener? Would you have the cleaner? Would you have someone to do your laundry? And now let's talk about your career, your business. Who would be on your team? Would you have a VA or a PA? Would you have a bookkeeper as well as an accountant? Would you have a full-time mentor or business strategist? What events would you go to for personal development? Who would you work one-on-one with? Who would support you in your decisions? Would you partner with someone, or would you like a partner? Would you have people out training, teaching your message? Would you have other people teaching what you do? Would you have other therapists helping you? Would you train people up to do what you do? How much money would you make? What investments would you make? What sort of help would you have with investments? Would you have an investor? Would you like to play with other currencies like cryptos or commodities, silver and gold? What about contribution? Would you have an NGO? Would you have someone would you choose a charity? Would you have someone in charge of your charity? Would you dump lots of money into a project? You get to go all in. And what would your passions be? If you could do whatever you want and you were allowed to just take 4 weeks off and go on holiday, what would you do? Would you get on a boat and go sailing with your friends and family? Would you go camping? Would you go on safari in Africa? Would you have a beach house just up the road that you could go to? What would you do for spirituality if you had all the time in the world? Would you get up at 4 a.m. to meditate or do yoga? Or would you sleep in till 10? Or would you just get up normally? If time wasn't an issue, would you meditate more? Would you do more yoga? Would you allow yourself to go to those retreats on the weekend? What about family? Would you invest in carers for your parents, or have a place that they could live? Or would you send your kids to different schools? And just imagine this as one big tribe, and just imagine that you get everyone together. And this could be a really small tribe. There could be 3 of you, or there could be 50. Imagine you get your tribe together. Now, I want you to look down on your tribe. How do they make you feel? What are the values this tribe runs on? How do you as a leader infuse the values into the tribe? What's the tribe's vision? What's it all about? What's the essence? What's the mission of the tribe? And what's the core essence? If you were to employ people to work with you in any way, shape, or form, what values would you want them to have? How would it look? I want you to feel into those values, feel into those feelings and those names. Like, would you want people to have fun at work? You know, let's look at some of the big brands. They have values like Virgin, it's fun. You know, would it be, you know, spiritual or inspirational or motivational or revolutionizing? What are the three main feelings and three main values that you would want to infuse into your tribe? How do you want your tribe to look? What is your tribe? What is the essence? What are they here to do? And what is the goal for that tribe? And how does it feel to have the help, to receive the help? How does it feel to be supporting other people and their families and their families? How does it feel to be the mother or father of this tribe that's like a family? And so now I want you to really feel into the brand that comes with this tribe. What is the brand? If you are this big and you've got the ability and the energy to hold a container like this, how would your brand look? How does a brand look to incorporate those values and those feelings and that energy in your essence? Does it stay the same or does it get uber professional? What colors are you using with your brand? What's the feeling you get when you look at it? See if you can see a flyer in your mind with your picture on it and your tagline or your essence. When you look at that branding, does it make you feel those feelings of your tribe, of your values, of your business family? What is your brand going to do? What's the essence of your brand? Is it for conscious contribution? Is it for strong leadership? Is it to build awareness or teach something or to be hot, rich, famous? What would be the true essence behind growing that brand? And now I want you to just take a moment and ask yourself this question. I want to grow my brand so it's recognized as. Just take a moment to feel into that. I want to grow my brand so it's recognized as the. And now I'm going to ask you another question, is if everyone's ready. Who is it that you really want to serve and help? Struggling to let Kimberly back in. Who is it that you really want to serve and help? Feel into how it feels to serve them, who they are and why you chose them and why it feels so good. And I want you just for a moment to ignore the traditional rules. And I want you to think about the people you serve as your tribe, not an avatar or a traditional client, as a tribe, as the faces in front and behind the scenes of your brand. And I want you to think about the people you serve, your soul tribe, and think about what is the pathway that you're putting them on? How are you helping them get from A to Z? What is your tribe driven by? What emotion are they driven by? Because they're driven by emotion, not logic. So what's the emotional stuff driving them? What do they desire? What do they just spilled my coffee. Sorry. What do they really desire? Is it more health, more wealth? Is it safety? Is it certain skills like in leadership? And what's the emotion behind these desires? Why do they really want these things? Really dive deep now into the emotion behind the desire. Tap into that. And think about the problems that your tribe has. How can you really help put them on a path from A to Z? And feel into what the main emotional problem they've got, how you can tap into that. And think about how you can share your story. Think about now with your tribe and think of your hero story, how you were like them once and how you learned to pop out the other side. Let's say you meet one of your tribe members and you're connecting, you know, you're standing there and you're talking to them and you're saying, I get it, me too. I was there once where you are, and now I popped out the other side. And This is what I can do for you. This is how I can help you. How can you share your story? What story could you share that would really tap into the emotion of your tribe? That would really complement your brand? And just take a moment to imagine this is all working really well and just feel into it. Feel into how that feels. What sort of message do your tribe need to hear? What kind of leader do your tribe need you to be? How do you think your tribe want you to show up? How would they like you to present yourself? Do you need to, how do you dress for your brand? What colors do you use? What's going to really resonate with them so they get to know, like, and trust you and find you? What pictures do they want to see? What platforms are they on? What face-to-face events will you find them at? Who do you need to be to really serve your tribe, to really serve these people? And now I just want you to think about the main problem, the main challenge this tribe is facing right now. What is their one thing that might keep them awake at night? What is one thing that right now that they secretly desire that you really understand? How can you really put them on a path from A to B? And when you're ready, just gently open your eyes if you haven't already. If you've got your eyes shut, just stare gently in front of you and just slowly come back into the room, wiggle your fingers and toes. And if you've got a pen and paper, just write down what is the one thing the tribe really needs help with right now. What is the one challenge that we can serve them by helping with? How do they need you to show up right now? How do they need help finding you? Beautiful. So, obviously the missions this week are going to go a bit more into our tribe and getting to know them better. I know a lot of you have done it before, but I look around the room today. When you do this work, this is what appears. You know, you get 10 incredible people in front of you that are your soul tribe. And if you haven't experienced this feeling already, every day I look at you guys and I just nearly cry. I go, look at who came into my world. Like, I don't want, you know, you could all be my best friends. Like, you are the people I want to have brain sex with, not just on a professional level, but I'd love to take you on my sailing boat and, you know, do masterminds and talk about our dreams under the stars. Like, and that's what I want from a tribe. I want to know that I could spend 10 days on a boat or in a tent with you, and you all appeared. So this is why, look around the room today and think, wow, what amazing people. It is worth doing the work. So many people skip over this feeling and the emotions of your brand, your tribe and your vision, and how you're here to serve. How are you here to serve them? What do they really need right now? And the more crystal clear we get on that, the more you actually become magnetic. People just start to appear. So well done. So does anyone want to chat? Everyone, please unmute yourselves and just, speak up. Or wave and I'll call you out if you want to say something. Finn?
I'll just be really honest, I'm scaring the shit out of myself.
Did I tell you I'm an adrenaline junkie?
That was awesome because it kind of just came. I have this kind of recurring banner logo on the car, on the yacht, and you saying, is there a team? I suddenly realized I've started a team already. And this was in a vision I wrote down 2 years ago. You know, I wanted a bookkeeper and an accountant. I got one. I want somebody helping with the back end stuff. I've got somebody helping. They're doing an amazing job. We're just getting going. And all I was going to say is when you put the intention out there and you write this stuff down, before you know it, it starts to appear in your life, but you don't really realize it. And that little exercise is like, oh my God, this, you know, I think the big question is, you know, yes, it's a huge idea and a huge vision, but it always comes back to, can I do it? Who do I need to be? And I think that's probably at the root of everybody's challenge in realizing their vision. It's, you know, it's great to have a vision, but then we have possibly the limitations and the doubts that kind of creep in. And it's that challenge of stepping into that vision regularly, consistently, to make it really realize, allow the vision to realize itself. So that, yeah, but that's just, it's a bit scary, but it's so worthwhile.
Yeah.
And it'd be awesome if it could come to fruition. It'd be just amazing.
It's really interesting, Finn, that you are talking about this, because, you know, I have been a producer and director for more than 10 years, and I had a lot of teams around me. But I had a meeting with one of other coach. You know, I get a lot of gifted coaches in trading my skills. So there was something came up that I was traumatized because I didn't do that financial breakup or breakthrough. But it is really interesting now to see that all of these skills, or the teamwork, or the producing craft, it will have another challenge to bring it up to that level of that it will go into branding. You know, it will be going into a vision that will also be breaking through also financially.
I think that's the big challenge for me. It's like, oh yeah, I could create all of this, but there's a disconnect between the money, the financial aspect of it, and the practicalities of it. And it's kind of trying to marry all of these things together and getting them all to flow in a symbiotic way. I think that's probably my big thing. Because I see money as huge responsibility, and, you know, all that sort of, you know, never having got to those upper echelons of earning. So it's, you know, who do I need to become to make that a reality?
And sometimes I feel
maybe it is very easy, you know, like maybe it is really easy, because, you know, when I listen to you now, I think about some things, like, actually, for example, I had to take over an Instagram account 2 weeks ago, and I just, you know, in 24 hours, I needed a team and working on it. And sometimes maybe it's a flip in the mind, maybe that we can just have this confidence that it can also go on another level. I think it's something in the mind that can flips it over and says, okay, if you can do this in the film business and in this harsh industry, even if you didn't make money, you didn't lose money, and even you did that turnover, take over in with a team. So maybe you can do it also on a grander vision. So I think it's something here that can click, something can just expand or get a quantum leap,
Yeah, absolutely.
Emma's absolutely right. Because what is really interesting is, can everyone put your hand up if you have an accountant? So there's a few people there with accountants. So there's a member of the team. Sometimes we forget to actually honour that we've got these things in place. And the weirdest thing for me was I was paying my and continue to my one-on-one coach Tammy a ridiculous amount of money, and I was having moments of frustration with it. And then I realised that actually I was employing her. She wasn't my coach. She was my business strategist, and she deserved to earn ... a month. It was like a salary. And what I was paying her was the same amount of money I pay our, the foreman at work, our workshop manager. And actually, when I looked at the repayments, I was paying it was the same amount as our staff. And I was like, well, actually, then that's pretty cheap when you put it like that, and it changed something in my mind. And my accountant, I used to find kind of annoying and do the bare minimum for. And I started going and saying, I want to have monthly meetings with you. And I go there every month. She's like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know, but I'm just getting used to it. She's like, you're wasting my time. I'm like, I brought you coffee and donuts. Can we talk about something like how my account's looking? What do I need to know? What if it was like bigger? How can I prepare, for the future? And she was like, wow, it's really interesting. No one's ever done this. And I'm like, well, I'm preparing to 10x my business. So I need to know that I'm in practice for this. I need to know that I'm ready and accountable. So, it's something we forget to notice sometimes. Sometimes we forget to look at, some of the teams already in place, and then they need some gratitude. So feel gratitude that you've got an accountant and that someone's already helping you with your books. How cool is that? And you don't even have to have them on the payroll, and so, like Emma said, sometimes we don't we think, oh, that's always over there and it's always going to be over there. Well, what if, how does this person wake up if they've got staff to look after? I definitely know that I Skype less, like with that responsibility. How do you show up? Do you get out of bed on the days you don't want to? Or other days when you actually need a bit of a break, do you allow yourself to? So I'm more of a give myself a break when I need it. That's where I struggle more than I'm not really good at hiding. I don't hide under the doona and not face the problems, but I would definitely tend to overwork and not sleep enough. And that's where, I had to go, why don't I start trusting a Filipino VA to do some work for me and just lose control. Go, look, let's just see how it goes and start getting used to that delegation rather than holding it all so tightly, and even if it was only for $10 a month, it's still getting, my brain used to it. And so we get to really sometimes we just keep putting it all over here. And what we've got to do is like go, do I really want it too? Like sometimes, like I know Em would agree, like, working for the rich and famous, I've seen a lot of really rich people and I'm like, I don't want that. The last thing I would want, to be clear, is a super yacht with crew. Definitely want my own boat for sure, but I don't want that big motorboat with all those crew. Like, I can't, that's gross. I can't, no way. And if I did, I'd probably be, or maybe I'd acclimatise quite quickly with the fine wine and cake. But, you know, I'd make my bed. I'd want to make my dinner. Like, I don't want a fully staffed house. In fact, I think that's a gross invasion of privacy. That's not what I'm doing it for. But I've seen it, and I'm like, I would hate to be sitting there cuddling my husband on the couch and someone's coming and cleaning up our dinner. I like being at home by ourselves. I don't want like the staff team, but you know, but I do need some help with my business, and I need to allow that to come through. So it's really, really interesting. We get really in touch with our why. Why do we really want this? Why have we all showed up today? What's really important about what we're trying to create, you know, and how serious are we to make this happen? And it takes crystal clear clarity on who we want to work with and why we want to serve them. You know, the big difference I see in conscious business and normal business is I see so many people on the internet going, you know, like I said in a group I was on yesterday, buy my pen, buy my pen, buy my pen. But they're not coming from, how can my pen serve you? Like, oh, you know, Emma loves to journal and write and is a creative. This pen's going to make the words and the visions come out because it's so soft and feels so nice in the hands. I don't know, you know what I mean? So often people are just trying to throw things down your face. And what we need to do as conscious entrepreneurs and leaders is know who we're targeting and why, and that we're here to serve them more before ourselves, and share our message and interact with our tribe members and build that vision for humanity. And when it becomes bigger than us, then you've got to get out of bed, you know. So that's where the beauty is for me. Like, it's about, you know, like for Klaus, for example, he's writing these sailing books. Like, people, I was really thinking about you yesterday. I was looking at a few books and that we've got passage plans, and we were trying to throw them out, but we couldn't, for the Pacific. And then I was like, those books, you know, that you're writing and sailing guides are so important to so many people. I can't tell you how many times, and Em and Emma, who's not here today, Ems and Emma would both agree, like, those guides have saved our lives. Those guides have helped us put food on the table. They've helped us, stopped us running aground. They've stopped us being killed by pirates, literally, you know. Like, those guides are really important. So that's a huge service. You know, Ginny bringing in conscious leadership in the corporate environments and business is so important. You know, as those of us that are in the Guru Jagat's Leadership Society, like when you see like that, how, you know, Kundalini yoga affects people that are doing, you know, corporate jobs and AI, there's, you know, they don't get that access to a lot of the life we do, and it's so important. So I know I do that for the super yachts. When I'm there as a medical trainer, I teach them about the nervous system. I teach them how to relax. I teach them all these things that they don't actually normally get access to. You know, we're here to serve. We've got to help the whole world. Nothing shits me more when people put corporate people and yacht crew and like into this box, thinking that they're not conscious or they don't deserve like to settle their nervous systems, and it's like us and them. That's not what the world's about. So our service is so important. You know, Em with her medicinal cooking, we all must agree like how much, you know, nutrition has impacted our life at some stage, and how essential that is. The boys with their coaching, their breakthroughs, their, you know, step into the future version of yourself, the leadership, once again, it's so important. And so I want you to really start thinking about how important your message is, your tribe is, and your brand is, and what an impact it's going to make. to really motivate you to show up. How does that feel? And I want you also to feel how beautiful it would be to be able to support other people financially. Imagine if, you know, so with a couple of my VIP clients, when we go through the wheel and we talk about contribution, they're like, well, we know that we pay our Filipinos, Google Ads team and SEO team and Facebook team, you know, like we pay them double the average Filipino wage, and they're single mums and they've got, you know, big families, and they're supporting a village. One of them, their SEO guys, supporting their whole village on what they pay him. And they're like, so that makes us feel like, you know, we don't have a charity, we don't have an NGO, we don't do anything that special. These kids are like young 20-year-old millionaires, and they're like, but we get to contribute by supporting all these people. And it's so beautiful, you know, like that they can, especially in this day and age. Is anything popping up for anyone? Luke, unmute yourself and speak.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, you know, since the lockdown, the last month, I went out to nature yesterday and I meditated for like an hour and a half, and it was just so beautiful. And I forgot like how I disregarded all these little things, but basically every day off in my lockdown, usually I would go like for a hike or something, but what I realized was I was only giving myself like 2 hours of time in the day to actually think for myself. And then the other time I was just like watching movies or just listening to music. And then in the meditation, it told me to just take one day off completely from all types of technology and time. So yesterday I did it. And my God, I had like so many awakenings just from yesterday. And it was just like, the answers was always there. And it was like I was waiting for something in my outside environment to change. But as soon as I did that, it was like I had just so many downloads, but like there was just waiting to come in. And what I realized was that a lot of people that I'm, you know, looking to serve, they're just, even whenever you get to a really, really good point or a really high level, you've done so much inner work, you can just so easily fall back into that habit and that routine. And that became my normal way of living, of having a day off just to watch movies. And I was constantly just bombarding my mind with all loads more information. And I just felt so free yesterday. And I forgot where I was even eating meals just by watching stuff. And yesterday was the first time I was like appreciating eating food and the taste of it. And then I was just looking at the birds in the sky, and I was just literally, all I was focused on was that present moment. And one of the things that came to my mind was the reason why a lot of people don't become this future self is it sounds too good to be true. So they just don't believe it and they don't do it. And then they just fall back in that same routine again. Whereas you just literally need to become that person every day. And even though I've heard it for the past month or so, it just doesn't sound, it sounds too good to be true, like, because everyone would just do it. But we just easily, you know, we don't think it's possible, and then we forget about it, and then we just carry on with our life, and then that's it. And that's just the whole point to it. And I couldn't believe how much, because I've done a lot of psychedelics before, I felt like just that one day off yesterday, it was like 1,000 psychedelic ceremonies in one. That's how like much I had from that, and it was just crazy.
You look so different. You look like you've been reborn.
Yeah, I feel like a completely new person.
It's just a smile.
It's just crazy because like I even took time out of the equation, and I
realized there's no mushrooms out there in the wilderness.
I was realizing how even the fear of thinking of what the time is, oh, I need to be there, I need to do this, that's bringing us in fear just from time. Time just keeps bringing us back to the 3D reality, And we're like, oh, I need to do this by that time. And just having a day with that time was just like, it really reset my mind, and I needed it for so long. And I was waiting for something like to be able to go on a hike, but it was always there. It was just, I chose to distract my mind and I fell in that routine.
And you actually brought a few things that came to me this week and that really came to me yesterday in meditation. I got the same. I got to go out, like I've been allowed to sneak out around here, but I got to go for a really long walk, and I was thinking about you guys and thinking about how stoked I am that we've got more corners of the world. And I was like, actually, and if it's okay with all of you guys, I actually feel that we should all take Sundays off. And I was like, you know what? I feel like we not, you know, I'm really glad these extra crew members have come in and joined us, because I actually think we should all switch off on Sundays and go sailing or go and sit by a waterfall or sit in a park, or, you know, even on the side of the road. If you're in a really busy city, there's always somewhere like a fountain or somewhere to go. And one thing that's really freaked me out a few times through lockdown is because I do so much on my phone, like Luke, I started always listening to something, doing what the, you know, personal development say. And even when I'm doing yoga, I'm doing it online at the moment, you know, which is twice. And I was like, it started being normal. I used to try and keep my screen time on my phone less than 2 hours. These days it's 8 or 9 hours, and it freaked me out. And I think we should all actually find a new time and actually all drop off on Sundays, because we all know, like, especially those of us that are in leadership and holistic technologies, we need that time to reset, and we need that time to be present with our families or to be present with ourselves. And thank you for bringing it up, Luke, because it was pretty amazing experience yesterday to see how, because our screen time has all increased so much recently. And what you're saying, like the way we just, you know, this future version, but then I'm there constantly. You wake up, you try and do all the stuff and you live like that person. And then, you know, you start forgetting your visions, or you start getting carried away with normal everyday things. And then you get to a point thinking, I wouldn't live like this if I had this going on. So why am I self-sabotaging? And often it's because we're tired and burnt out, and screens do that, you know, which is why I'm so into resetting the nervous system every day with our work. So thanks for sharing. Can I just ask everyone to step forward and just give me your biggest takeaways from the exercise we just did? Did anyone have a brain fart or a realization, or how did it feel? If we could, I'll call people out just as people are on the screens. So yeah, Luke, I'll just start with you because you're on my screen now. What was your biggest takeaway from that exercise?
The one with you in the future. Yeah. Just, I was really like immersed in it, and you know, I really felt, it just felt very real. And what I did a video on this the other day is, and Joe Dispenza talks about this, there's the past, the present, and the future is all happening simultaneously. There's no gap between you and the future. It's just what you do to become that future. There's literally no gap between it. So like when I'm seeing my future, then just before it would seem so far away, but now it just seems like really close. And it's just like, often enough when we step onto it, it's like we see a massive mountain, but it's just an illusion. You know, it's actually there, but it's how we choose to believe it. And for me, it just, the more I keep doing it, the more I believe it, and the more I believe it, and it just, you know, it comes more real. So for me, it just was really a lot more real this time, and it was really, you know, nice to feel that as well. So thank you.
Yeah, actually, well said. Like with Kate Chiffy-Gray and Jeff in the inner circle I'm with those guys who are two of my main mentors. They're probably my main mentors at the moment. What we're all doing is actually doing Joe Dispenza's future meditation every day, and they've actually set us a task. and they're really pragmatic and they're really strategic, and they're both back from conscious backgrounds, but they're really trying not to bring that into their work too much these days because they're going more corporate. But they were like, you know, if you write down your vision, your brand vision, your future vision, and you read it or rewrite it every day, and then you do one of these meditations, it really helps to speed up that process. Because let's face it, we're all adults, we're all quite, you know, aware everything is happening now. The rest is on the fact that, you know, it is all happening now, so we get to create that and call it in. So thanks, Luke. Awesome. I'll just unmute you.
Hi. Yeah. I think I've done it, haven't I? Have I
Yeah.
done it? Yeah. I found that really, really great, actually. It was incredible. And I wrote down loads of things. I didn't have my eyes closed because there was so much going on that I didn't want to forget it, really. But I can go back and have a look over it all. I think the big thing for me is confidence, but that is really changing, I think, over the past week. And I do know that I've got a lot of people behind me, and I had a really lovely article written by Vicky in the Daily Bulletin yesterday, and I just realised when I read that and all the comments after that I've already got a following, whereas before I didn't think I was good enough and that I had to be different from everybody else. But I've got people there that follow me for who I am anyway. So I need to really capitalize on that.
And one thing that really helps with that, if I can butt in, is loving it. Like, you know, how I got all you guys in front of me is when if one person liked my post, rather than go, oh, only one person liked my post, I'd be like, wow, one person liked my post. Like, they've got 5,000 friends on Facebook and they took the time to like my post. You know, wow, 2 people commented. How cool is that? Wow, like, you know, I had to learn this because with my medical business, we've had a lot of trouble getting bums on seats. That's how I got into, most of you know my story. That's how I got into this, was learning to do digital marketing to fuel my medical courses. And the problem was that Joe Dispenza taught me was that every time I only got 4 people and we need 6 to financially run the course, I was hating the 4. I wasn't grateful for them at all. I was like, oh no, only 4 people. And so do you think I ever got more than 4? Maybe 5, you know, and then if I get really expansive, I get 10, then it'd go back to, and so just being, you know, to really love on the clients you've got, all the viewers you've got, and to take time every day to go, wow, someone saw me and maybe liked it. That's so cool. Like, fuck, that's so cool. Wow, wow, wow. Rather than, oh, only 2 people. And a lot of people are judging themselves. The problem we have with social media and we, you know, in business is we judge ourselves by likes and comments. And it's so silly, really, that we actually, in our adult brains, let that affect our confidence. So love the small wins. It's really, really cool and never compare. So well done for you. And congratulations on your article. Can you share that in the group so we can all see?
Sure. Yeah, I will do. It's yeah, I definitely will. And I took a lot more from everything that you just did today. I won't go through it all because it is a lot, but also what Luke said as well about having a dream and wanting to go for it, but then not feeling that you can do it. So then you just go back to your life. And I have been doing that for way too long. So I feel really strong now that I can follow what I want to do, and I'm not going to go back to that other way of life. So yeah, thanks, Luke. That was I really appreciated that. So yeah, feeling good.
Beautiful. Thank you. We've just got 6 minutes, so I'll just get everyone to just say their things, and we'll move it along so you guys can get out and enjoy your Sunday. Ginny, what was your takeaway?
Yeah, interesting, because I did the one online and then this fed into it. but really it's around who I really want to serve. And so I've been thinking more along the line of business leaders who are stuck and wanted to get through to the next level. However, what's come through yesterday, or actually today, is more focusing around those with the lack, and it doesn't have to be leaders, but lack of confidence, like you said, Em, like knowing that they're here for bigger things, but not sure how to get over the voice inside. So yeah, that's kind of a little tweak, I guess, on where I thought I was heading.
That's really cool. Really cool. Amazing. All right, well done.
And what you said about the likes, yeah, I've been beating myself up for not being able to seem to reach people on Instagram and stuff like that. So I need to start loving the ones that do show up.
So good. Yeah, love the little bits rather. Yeah, it's so, and that's a rewire in itself, just getting used to loving one like rather than, you know, our brains are designed to go, oh no, you know, I'm not good enough, because it's just the way we're unfortunately wired. So even getting used to that, you know, is huge. It's really huge. Beautiful. Thanks, Jen. Klaus?
Hello. So I think for me, the when I imagined to build up a team, that was somehow frightening for me.
Cool.
Because I'm not good at asking for help. And although Ima is working on that quite a while, I think that's an issue really for me. The idea to build up a team was uncomfortable at the first moment. Later, when I just imagined that somebody would do the text work for me, for example, it's beautiful to have a team, maybe. So I don't know yet, but it's something I take from it now.
Yeah, so I invite you to just play with that in your head and just be like, what if I allowed myself to receive? What if I trusted some people to help me write or produce, or, you know, without, especially being a self-publisher, you know, you've a lot to do on your own. So just what if you got to dance and play with that? Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ima.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I will be going online today on Instagram for the first time. So I'm actually exactly doing it by learning, you know, like I'm actually learning by doing and doing by learning. And I'm very much used to teams and producing and you know, directing. So now the task is to bring it on that level that that is, you know, sustainable, that is like business, you know, like these are the things that I really need to find out how to do it, because I am very good in directing and teamwork. And it's also interesting to see that there are a lot around me now that they want to help and they want to get on the board. So it is just, I think it's something in my mind that has to do with business and the relationship to business, and to be a business yourself and to run the business, and to have no ceiling, you know, no ceiling, and expanding. So these are the inner issues of the outer thing. So what I will do is I will just go out online today and every Sunday from now on Instagram, and just, you know, just go out there, you know, do it, you know. Yeah.
Beautiful. Amazing. Thank you. Finn. Finn.
Yeah, I'm back. I think the thing for me was the maybe just how easy that just came from within. It was just a feeling, and you just got to dive into the field. I'm just getting into Joe Dispenza, and it's actually making a huge impact, and just practicing every day, getting into that vision and feeling it, because I think for me, I've been trying to create it consciously, but the subconscious has been telling a different story, and now the two are merging. So that was the big realization for me, and yeah, I'll be diving into that much more deeply.
Amazing. Yay. Good work, mate. Good work. Ben.
Thank you.
I feel like I'm getting a real glimpse of something, and it's quite hard to put words on it, but it's very, it's quite intangible. It's a feeling of just, in a way, I want to show up as myself and inspire other people to do the same, and to not hang around until they have to learn more. And it feels kind of almost like a transmission, an energy, rather than I find it very hard to put words into it or label onto it. You know, then I get it stuck in my head. But there's a kind of feeling of it, and that I remember I have to kind of stay with that rather than trying to go into the mental realm. Then I get lost. I start following other people and doing what Luke does. I have dinner and I'm watching someone else, and then I'm kind of away from myself. So yeah, I feel like I'm onto something, and it's kind of challenging as well. But it's so simple that my mind doesn't really want it. It wants something more complicated. But actually, it's really simple.
Yeah, and please, let's all make that our mantra. It gets to be easy. It gets to be simple. And the more simple it is, remember Pareto's law, 20% of effort generates 80% results. So if we can stay focused and come from this big vision and be like, right, what would I do right now? Because I'm really busy. I don't have time to scroll and spend hours on this. And you come in and pull up your sleeves and go boom, boom, boom with soul-aligned tasks, take a break. You might actually, work quicker and more effectively. So just remember that it gets to be that easy. Beautiful. Thanks, Ben. Kimberly's actually here on my phone. She's here. You just can't see her. Can you unmute yourself? And I might have to tell the guys what you say, but I'll see if they can hear you. What were your biggest takeaways, huh? She's here.
Well, I missed a lot, and I apologize for my Zoom not wanting to stay connected. But what I did catch, I came in at the end of the visualization that you were leading, and I think that you were talking about finding our tribe, or the people that we are looking to serve. And it really clicked in when you put it in those words that, what is the thing that's keeping them up at night, and what is the challenge that I want to help them overcome. And so if you were talking about
correct, yeah, we were.
Yeah, that really hit me hard, and it's such a beautiful way to look at it, because I have such a deep desire to serve, and then there's always that how and where, and it just gets to be this big cobweb of unknown, and then I'm just lost in the web, So that was beautiful. Thank you for that.
Amazing.
Hi, everybody. I don't know if they heard me, but hello.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Awesome. All right, everyone. Eddie's going to share hers in the in a live or something, because we're going to move on. I've got to start another meeting in a sec, and you guys need to turn your phones off, turn your computers off, go outside, love yourself, masturbate, dance, do something really, really fun that has nothing to do with Wi-Fi. Have sex, play with children, drink wine, anything that doesn't involve a screen. That's your mission. I can see our Germans are getting frisky. I love you all. Thank you so much for such a beautiful session. And I just want to thank you all for the support you've given me this week. With my mum being sick, so many of you, all the messages, thanks for holding that space for me, and we really appreciate it. It's pretty cool when the coolest people in the world are praying for your mum. It's really great. All right. Lots of love. I'll see you all soon.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Cheers. Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
Amanda.
Thank you.
Hi, beauty. Hi, gorgeous. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Very good. How are you?
Really good. Yeah, really good. I won't be so late. I'm going to change the group before. It's the baby, not the baby group. It's the